Howdy there, folks. It's Geist with another Destiny 2 video. This one is going to be on the solo flawless for the Prophecy dungeon. Now, this dungeon is not for the faint of heart. It's going to take a lot of determination to get through, but if you follow my guide and you persist, you will be able to get through it. And for your troubles, you're going to get this nice shiny emblem that you can show off to your friends. You will also get an exotic sparrow and an exotic ghost. And I apologize in advance. You guys are going to hear me clear my throat. It's allergy season, so we're just going to power through it. The cornerstone of this build is, of course, going to be Rat King, followed by any rapid-fire fusion rifle of your choice. I like Null Composure, and then that specific rocket launcher, the Palmyra. And I like to get one with Lasting Impression and Boss Spec, and you're going to want that because it's going to really help your boss DPS. You're also going to want to equip any corresponding mods for your rocket launcher. Hunters and Warlocks, you're going to want to run Void. Titans, you have a choice between either Void or Arc. For those of you that are running Void, Hunters abuse your invisibility. Warlocks abuse Devour. Titans abuse your Overshield. If you're confident, Titans, that you can survive without the use of your Overshield, then feel free to use Arc and use Thunder Crash with Curus of the Falling Star to increase your boss DPS. Now, this is sort of just a general explanation of the mechanics that are going to be persisting throughout the entire encounter. You're going to see those light and dark wells, and right here you're going to see these yellow bar knights. If you kill one of those knights while standing in the light, it will spawn light motes. If you kill one of those knights while standing in the dark, it will spawn dark motes. Collecting 5 of these motes will cause your guardian to go into third person, and then you'll be carrying a large version of that mote. And you want to bank it into the corresponding well. You do this by pressing whatever key or button you use to fire your weapon. So just make sure that you bank the dark motes into the dark well and the light motes into the light well. You can do so on the ground, or you can do so in the air or kind of next to them, as long as you're up above where the platform is. And right here is just sort of a little skip. You can kind of hop up into this tube. Once your feet hit the tube, you do another little hop, summon your sparrow, boost straight up, and take your fingers off of your movement keys and only use the steering keys. You steer up, and right before you get to the top, veer left, and you should be able to hop off. A lot of times you'll land right on the platform, or you can use either Hunter as your third triple jump, or Titans and Warlocks the last little bit of your jump to kind of finish getting up on the platform. Now you can skate or jump across the middle and get right into the arena, but I like to just take the safe path around. There's no reason to be hasty. And then you're going to hop in here, and this is going to be the first boss encounter and the first main encounter of the entire dungeon. Now, throughout this, I like to kind of stay near the edges of the arena, and it's going to take a rhythm. Well, there's only so much rhythm you can build, but it'll take a little bit to kind of get your bearings. You're going to have to practice this a few times. And once you get the hang of it, it becomes a lot easier. And when I say you can't really develop a rhythm, it's just chaos in here. Most of these rooms are going to be pure chaos, so you have to just kind of use your Rat King, use your Invis, use your Devour, use your Overshields, use whatever you can to just survive. Pace yourself. You don't have to try to complete each objective as quick as possible. Survival is the key, because that's how you're going to get the solo flawless done. Do not take a risk. If you see that something's going to endanger you, just wait. Wait for the next wave of knights to spawn. Wait for the next group of motes, and sometimes it's out of your control. Sometimes you really need some dark motes, but you get light motes because you just happen to be standing in the wrong space. And there's not much you can do about that. You just got to pace yourself and try to stay alive. Once you slam all 4 plates, and it's going to be random, the first 4 are guaranteed, but after that, subsequent damage phases, it's going to be random which ones are which. Try to slam them in the air as much as you can to reduce the time that you're stationary and getting hurt. As soon as the boss is damageable, you'll know because his little overshield will go away. Fire your supers. Titans, you can chill in your bubble if you're running the Void class. Everybody else, or Thunder Crash Titans, fire your damage dealing supers and then spam your rocket into him. It's going to be a little bit of luck, but you want to try to do as much damage as possible before those annoying goblins spawn, because there it gets kind of hectic trying to clear them while dealing damage to him. But even still, despite those goblins, you should still be able to get more than a third of his health, as you can see I did there. And on my second run here, I actually ended up getting definitely half of his health in one go. But because of the first one not being so great, I wasn't quite able to two-phase him. But with enough practice, you should be able to two-phase him, and you should definitely be able to three-phase him. And as long as you're abusing Rat King to try to stay alive, it shouldn't be that frantic. There are some other builds that people will use for this. A lot of people will recommend Lament. Lament is definitely very good for this boss. It used to be phenomenal for Warlocks, but Warlocks, you're no longer able to damage him through his invulnerability as far as I'm aware. And in any case, in general, Rat King is going to be better for everybody because it's going to help you stay alive throughout this entire encounter. Alright, and here's my final damage phase. And once you slam and you finish the boss, a little chest is going to pop up in the middle so you can get your loot. And then there's going to be a little purple sand pit that's going to pop up right there in the middle, and that's how you go to the next encounter. And there may be a few awkward pauses here and there, guys. I'll try to fill the silence as much as I can. The audio got a little screwed up on the clip, so I'm just going to be talking with you one-on-one throughout this whole thing, just trying to give you all the info I can. Right here, I like to go ahead and swap to my linear. You can swap the corresponding mods as well. Also, I'm going to be over-explaining a lot with this, so I apologize if I'm telling you guys anything that you already know, but this is from the viewpoint of I'm trying to help somebody who's never been in this dungeon or doesn't have any clue or maybe just doesn't have much experience at all. It is an older dungeon, so for those of you that came on around Witch Queen, which I'm sure there are plenty of, you may not have ever messed with this dungeon. But it is there, and the emblem is pretty cool, and, you know, just for bragging rights, maybe you want to get it done. So here's the first encounter, the first encampment of Blights. So this whole area is just sort of a desert, sort of looks like Sand Trap from old Halo 3, if any of you guys know that reference. But there's going to be a bunch of those little taken Blights just kind of spawning at random, and each one of the possible spawns has sort of a red or white neon little ring floating above it. And also, right here in the center, I'm driving by this big rib cage. You're going to see me turn around here in just a second because I'm going to take another look at it. That rib cage, if you turn around and go left, or just in this direction along the ridge, there's this little group of buildings right here that have what looks like a splatter of yellow paint. There's a hidden chest in here. So if you go down in here, it will not give you loot that you've already had, of course, just like the other dungeon hidden chests, but it will give you random rolls and stuff you've already obtained, so it's not going to give you something new. And after that's done, you're going to go back to one of your encampments, which is where the Blights are spawning, and you just have to kill all the Blights. And the first thing I like to do with each encampment is to kill the goblin snipers. They're the most annoying, of course. So just take them out as quickly as you can. There's always going to be 3 of them. It's pretty much threes all the ways through this. Threes, threes, threes. You're going to see a lot of threes in this dungeon. So you kill those 3 goblins. There will be 3 yellow bar ads that will spawn. And they're kind of random as well. Sometimes they're captains. Sometimes they're hobgoblins. Sometimes they're centurions. The centurions are the ones that you want to watch out for. The centurions are going to spawn those annoying little taken bolts repeatedly, so I always save my super for those guys. And you'll see me use it on them in just a little bit. And with each Blight, you just want to jump on top of it because the Blight can't damage you there once you've killed the yellow bars. You can largely ignore all the thralls. They can't really get to you. Just keep jumping around, jump on top of the Blights, and then kill them that way. And as a bonus, when you're on top of the Blights like that, it will shield you from outside fire, so those annoying invisible minotaurs that are roaming around won't be able to shoot you either. And you won't need your strafe jump anymore at this point, so just use whatever your highest jump is. And I think I actually forgot to mention that on the first encounter. You want to use your strafe jump when you're fighting that Phalanx boss because it can save you from getting booped off the map with his little shield push attack. Otherwise, just try to stay behind cover as much as possible. But for the rest of the dungeon, you can use whatever jump you want. I like to just run triple jump, of course. And after you kill each little group of blights, you'll see me touch that orb there. That's Tolan. Once you touch that little ball of light, that will trigger the next encampment of blights to spawn. And right here, this wasn't the Centurions, it was just the Phalanxes. But I actually got lucky this time around. I did not see the Centurions. If you get the Centurions, make sure you save your super for them, because they're really annoying and you want them to die as fast as possible. And again, hopping on top of the blights. And once you kill all 3 blights, again, touch the little orb. This is actually me. I just killed the 3rd one. So this is me killing the 3rd little group there. Once you've killed all 3 groups and you touch the 3rd little orb, the way will open. Right here, that little structure that looks kind of like a letter A, that little archway sunk into the ground, sort of looks like the symbol for Ark. To the left of it right here is the exit. There's, I think, 3 of these big cubes out on the edge of the desert, but you want to always go to the one that's to the left of that little A over there. And you can just drive your sparrow right up into the entrance, or you can do like I did and not be able to drive your sparrow, just hop off and walk through. Either way, it's going to take your sparrow away once you get in there anyways. And now we have what the community leveling calls the cube encounter. And once you come through these doors, you're going to have another little flag to plant. And I'm going to try to remember to explain all this as best as I can. There's a lot of steps to this one, but some similar stuff from previous encounters. So first and foremost, you see Tolan sitting there in the middle on that platform. You can look around the room and see similar platforms up on the walls. He's going to spawn up there. He'll either be on any of the sides, or if you're unlucky, he'll be straight up on the ceiling. When he's on one of those sides, and see there's the ceiling that he can spawn on, the room is going to flip every time you successfully slam one of those. And you do so by collecting the corresponding motes to the light or dark well. It's going to be random. Sometimes it'll be a light well, sometimes it'll be a dark. Whatever it is, you got to get the motes, slam it, and then you run back to the center, and it's going to rotate the room. When he spawns on the walls, you always spawn it under. You always slam it underneath the one that he is above. So that little orb, like it's floating right there, you'll slam it at the one that's underneath. If it's on the ceiling, pick a random one and just slam it there, and then continue onward. The first thing you want to do is kill those hobgoblins when you spawn in. They're very annoying. And when you kill the hobgoblins, there's 2 yellow bar ones. Kill them with your linear. When you kill them, 2 yellow bar knights will spawn, and this is going to continue back and forth. If you kill a hobgoblin, a knight will spawn. If you kill a knight, a hobgoblin will spawn. So just make sure that you try to kill the knights at the same time. This is very important here. That way, the moment that you kill them, you can grab all the motes, run over, dunk it where you need to, and then shoot an acolyte with Rat King, turn invisible, and then get out of the encounter. Now, I started to explain this earlier but didn't finish. If Tolan appears on the ceiling, pick a random one and slam it on there if you want to. It doesn't really matter. You're going to have to rotate the room twice. When you do that, you'll spawn into the next room, and it's going to show you he's going to be on the wall now. In whatever direction that you rotated, he'll be on that wall now. And then whenever you're jumping into the middle after having successfully slammed, make sure you shoot something with Rat King and turn invisible. It'll help you survive. When you get to the final room, you'll know that it's this right here. These 2 big Centurions are going to spawn. They're the final boss of this encounter, and they always spawn in this room here with the poles. I like to super the first one, and then I just use my linear fusion on the second one. And just be careful. Just take your time with them. They really don't have a lot of health. They can be a little buggy, as you saw right there. His health jumped back up, but as long as you take your time, just burst down the first one with your super, and then just be careful not to die to the Axions. That last room is the easiest part because it's nothing but thralls. No more knights, no more goblins, any of that stuff. And then you're on to the next part. So you'll walk back out here. You're going to be out in the desert again. And you're going to see the final boss waiting for you once these doors eventually open. And don't wait around in that hallway. I've had it bug out before, and the doors closed and sealed me in there. Just walk straight through the hallway. Don't dilly-dally in there. You're going to follow the boss. he's just going to kind of keep teleporting along, and you'll follow him along the ridge over to this other cube, and that leads to the next encounter. This time you can stay on your sparrow, because you're going to come out in this nice, colorful, pretty hallway, and you're going to come up on a cliff right here, so be careful. Don't boost your sparrow off the edge and kill yourself. This next part is just one long jumping puzzle, and you can go through the whole thing on your sparrow for the most part, or you can just do the whole thing on foot. It doesn't really matter either way. Just be careful, take your time, don't fall off. This is always the part that stresses me out the most, because I'm really good at looking down the scopes of weapons and backing off cliffs and dying. I have a habit of doing that. So this part will always kind of, just the jumping parts in general. I had the most trouble, for whatever reason, with the wizard encounter in Pit of Heresy. Just like this. For the same reason, I love to just fall off maps and die. So don't be like me. Don't go through all that work and do a nice long run and you're doing great, and then you just fall off and just die in a stupid way. Don't do that. So just take your time. You can ride your sparrow through, or you can go on foot. If you go on foot, you're going to have to deal with the snipers. Just use your linear. You can swap to a scout if you want to, but I just use my linear. And if you're going to take your sparrow through this, don't boost the whole way through. Can you do it? Absolutely. Should you do it? No. If you're this far along, do not take chances here. Just take your time and go through this. When you come along each one of these little prisms here, as I call them, there's going to be groups of enemies inside. You can kill them or you can not kill them. It's kind of optional. And right here, these little drops, I'm going to demonstrate right now why you want to take them slow, because you might flip off your sparrow and then die. I happen to recover there, but you want to just be careful. Don't go too fast. Take your time. When you come along on the second prism, there's going to be a taken knight and a few taken goblins there. You can kill them if you can, or just throw a grenade and kind of scare them away. A lot of times they'll just kind of retreat up into the upper room, which at that point you can go up there and kill them, which I do in this case, but you don't have to kill them. You can just run past them. They're not extremely threatening. All right, and take out the last couple, and you want to go out this way. Not the other way, but the other way. Or put this way, I should say. You'll know it's the right one because it'll have this little platform waiting for you. And it'll continue onward. So as you're jumping down this portion, you're going to see some of the platforms are a bit bigger, and they have sort of these little spheres on them. Taken phalanxes are going to spawn there and try to boop you off, because of course they are, because thank you, Bungie. Just be careful with them. Do not let them knock you off. Kill them as quickly as you can. And then take out the snipers as you see them. And if you can safely do so, feel free to just not jump on those platforms with the spheres at all. I definitely always skip the second one because it's rather easy to do so. Kill the snipers. Occasionally they'll teleport next to you just like that one, making them a nice easy cleanup for your regular fusion. And continue making your way downward. If you see one of these stupid phalanxes, I kill this one pretty much instantly, but if you see one of them raise their shield at you, try to just run and slide or quickly get behind the sphere so that they don't boop you off. It can be very hard to recover from that. So 9 times out of 10, just try to kill them immediately if you can. Here with this group, you can kill them if you want. I always just run through. And again, a little platform to jump on. You can go to the right. There's more platforms to jump on. I always go this way. And the reason you want to do that is because that's where the hidden chest is located, which I'll show you shortly. Again, you can do this part on Sparrow or by foot. There's no snipers on this part. Just be careful about those the wall sphincters there, because they'll try to boop you off into the chasm, and then again, that's a failed run, and you don't want that. So just take your time and don't let them get you. And coming up around the bend here, we're going to be coming up on the last prism. The last one is the one that has the hidden chest, and I'll show you where that's at once I get to it. And most of the hard jumping and annoying little bits are over at this point, so you can kind of just glide on through. So you're going to turn right as soon as you come in here, And behind these 2 cubes is a little sort of hatch or open little way to hop through. Go down, jump across, don't fall, go up the stairs, and there's going to be a hidden chest right here. Same as the other, it'll give you re-rolls of stuff that you've already gotten. Go back across, and you'll head up, and now you're going to go to the exit. Now the exit can be a little tricky. Sometimes it doesn't want to grab people and teleport you up, or should I say lift you up. But this is the way I always do it. I just hop on my sparrow and I just boost straight out. And typically it grabs you almost every single time. As soon as it does, let off of your boost and just kind of ride your sparrow up, and that's it. You made it through. Now this is a silly death, but don't do it. Wait until your sparrow starts to fall like that before you get off. I have gotten off as soon as I got out of the lift with it before, and my sparrow has landed on me and killed me, and it's funny, but it's not funny when it happens on your solo flawless run, so just be careful about that. Kill these thralls because you've got a lot of frustrations by this point, and you felt like you've climbed the mountain and now you're at the peak. So you're going to take a brief little break, and you're going to murder the crap out of these guys because they deserve it. And after that's done, now you're headed to the boss room. And one other thing I forgot to mention, everybody who's running a Void subclass, which should be everybody except for maybe not the Titans, 50-50 shot for you guys. But if you are, everybody should be running the Echo of Obscurity. And that's a fragment that gives you invisibility when you perform a finisher. That can also really help to get through this. Sometimes if you've shot 2 fusion blasts into the knight and he's standing in the light and you need the light, just finish him, kill him immediately. You'll turn invisible, grab the motes, and then go bank them. Otherwise, and this is something that you should be doing the whole way through, try to get a kill with Rat King and reload right as you grab the 5 motes that you need. That way you're invisible when you go to slam, and it can really help you out a lot. You won't see me do that as often because I'm a hunter, so I have invisibility on demand, so I'm kind of abusing that here and there. And in this room, everything comes together. It's going to pretty much be pure chaos in here. So the first thing that you want to do, as you're going to see, the room is shaped like a triangle, and 3 again. There are 3 bosses in this room, and they're just copies of him, or remnants, or whatever. You want to try to get the motes as quickly as you can for the corresponding well in front of whichever boss you pick. Could be light, could be dark. When you slam on that well, an ogre is going to spawn. You want to kill the ogre, and at that point, when you slam and the ogre spawns, the boss will disappear. And that way it kind of clears out that corner, so you've got a spot that you can kind of go and, you know, take the heat off of you if you need to take some cover. It can be really frantic during the initial phase of the room because there's really nowhere to go. Regardless of where you're running, there's knights, there's scions, there's a boss in every corner of the room. Something's always shooting at you. And that's exactly why I champion Rat King for this dungeon. Rat King is incredibly useful at giving you a little bit of breathing room, giving you that survivability. And I'm not even running the catalyst. I constantly forget to complete it. I just never think about it. I really need to, as much as I like the gun. But the catalyst will help you out even more. Every time you kill something and turn invisible, you'll also heal. And it makes the dungeon so much easier. So again, just abuse Rat King. And then, of course, you know, I try not to do it as much, but I do in this room because it's so hectic. Hunters, use your stealth. Warlocks, use your devour. Titans, use your overshield. Or if you're a confident enough Titan to run Thunder Crash and you think you can get by with just Rat King, by all means do it. Me personally, Titans, I would just go with the bubble and just kind of suck it up. Your damage won't be quite as high as everybody else, at least on the burst. Overall, it'll still about even out because as you're ducking in and out of your weapons of light, you'll be able to just keep dealing increased damage with the rocket as opposed to us where we're just kind of firing it. Hunters, you'll get a little bit of damage out of it. As far as your class exotics, which I did forget to mention earlier, you guys can kind of just wear whatever you want. I'm wearing the Omni Oculus here just for the increased survivability because I'm a hunter, so I'm squishy whenever I'm in invis. Titans, use whatever you want. Warlocks, use whatever you want. The most important thing is having a Palmyra rocket launcher with lasting impression and having Rat King. Those are the 2 most important things to be able to get this done. And of course, Void 3.0, which most of you should have by now. And you'll kind of just do the same thing you've been doing. Kill the scions, bank the moats. Eventually you'll get all 3 of the bosses taken down. When that happens, when you take out all 3 bosses and you've killed all 3 ogres, which by the way, you should kill the ogres as quick as you can. You don't want them around too long. When you've done all that, the only thing that's left in the room will just be scions. All of the knights are going to despawn, and all the bosses will be gone as well. At that point, feel free to just kind of farm scions and get as much ammo as you can. That way you can be ready to DPS the boss. And I guess I'll give you a couple of recommendations. For hunters, obviously Omni Oculus is great. Also, Orpheus Rig is not bad. Getting that 3rd burst off does increase your damage on the boss. I mean, you do just fine without it, as you'll see here in just a minute. You don't really need it, but it is kind of nice to have, and it will give you a little more burst. So if you want to run that, feel free. Warlocks, again, still mostly preference, but I kind of prefer the Karnstein armlets just because of the increased healing. It's always good to have that, or anything that works with your Devour. And then Titans, I don't really have a good recommendation. I play my Titan the least, guys. And obviously I'm a hunter main, so I don't have a huge opinion on the Titan exotics. Most of it's really going to come down to Rat King. There's not really going to be anything that's going to make a huge difference. I mean, run One-Eyed Mask if you want to be funny, but unless of course you're running Thunder Crash, which in that case you do want to run Curus, because that's going to do a lot of damage to the boss. But as I've said, that's more for my confident Titans. You want to be careful. Void 3.0 is very useful because it gave everybody a lot of survivability, so we might as well use it while we've got access to it. Who knows what Solar 3.0 and Arc 3.0 will bring to us. We might get some similar stuff. That would be kind of neat. But I doubt it. It seems like Void is geared to be our stealth class, and especially in Destiny, stealth is very good for enhancing your survivability. Which is why I'm telling you to spam Rat King. And sorry if I'm kind of just running my mouth here a lot, guys. Like I said, I'm just giving you as much info as I can. And I wanted to show you what a full damage phase looks like, everything that you're going to have to go through. So you can see how chaotic it is, but that it is very doable using this build that I'm talking about. And with the ogres, a lot of times I'll just immediately hit them with a rocket. And then that and 1 fusion burst is enough to kill them. You don't want them wandering around the room too much. They can be a big problem, pun intended. And once you farm the silence for a little bit and get enough ammo, that little purple sand trap is going to appear in the middle, and you're going to hop down there and go to damage the boss. Now the boss is a big taking captain, and he's going to be throwing out these little waves of darkness at you. Do not let those hit you. They will teleport you backwards. This next encounter here is sort of a jumping puzzle, which you'll see here in just a moment. The first thing you do when you come out, hunters and warlocks, fire your damaging super, and then immediately spam rockets at him. Titans, if you're thunder crashing, you can thunder crash him, but stay in front of him. So try to hit him directly coming from the front, so that way if he stomps you, it shouldn't get you off the edge, but again, still very risky, and he may still stomp you off. So I would just stick with the void. Hunters and warlocks, do what I just did there. Fire your damage super, and then spam rockets at him until he disappears. Everybody, and Titans, if you didn't have a super there, just shoot rockets at him and just leave it at that. And then everybody, you're going to kind of make your way across the platforms, and you're going to kill the goblins with Rat King, abuse the invis, and just go platform to platform. And he's going to keep throwing those little shadow waves. Do not let those hit you, because it's going to teleport you backwards. He's got a little ring around him, and that's something called Dark Entropy. If you're outside of that, you'll start building stacks, which you'll see I've got there in the bottom left. If it gets to times 10, it kills you. So you want to stay kind of close to him. If you have chances here and there, fire some rockets, but your goal is to just use Rat King, kill the hobgoblins, and survive. Do your damage at the beginning, and do your damage at the end of the room. So when you first come in, and then right here. Eventually, he's going to make his way right here, and that's for the last little bit of it. Titans, at this point, use your bubble. When you see him, before he even teleports, go ahead and put down your bubble, because it's going to persist long after he's gone. So put down your bubble, weave in and out of your bubble while firing your damaging rockets. Everybody else, fire off as many remaining rockets as you have. If you have time, feel free to shoot some fusion rifle rounds into him as well. And as you see, I was easily able to get a third of his health right there. So without a doubt, using this method, you should be able to 3, maybe 4 phase him. If you have to 4 phase him, it's not the end of the world. 3 phasing is what you want to go for, but if it's a 4 phase, just deal with it, be patient, and roll with it. Right here is a clip of me using another popular build, or should I say the popular build, where you're kind of just abusing Wither Horde the whole time. And Wither Horde is a good option, and it's what a lot of people recommend for this dungeon. But as you can see there with my boss, he's got just a sliver of health there, and it took me 5 phases to get him with this, just because things were so much more frantic without Rat King that I kind of struggled a little bit, and I wasn't as focused on that for getting across the platforms and not getting destroyed by the hobgoblins while I was trying to get across, because I wasn't invisible from Rat King. Now once you kill the boss, that's it, you're done. You can celebrate, you can dance in the streets, what have you. I hope this guide helped you guys. I know it was a lot to cover. Please leave me a comment there. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.